Guys, first of all, thanks for coming down. Sorry we're a bit late, but today we announced our leadership group to the playing list. And I guess a bit of a traditional format. We've named a captain, which will be Nathan Van Burley. We've also named Scotty Thompson as our vice captain, and Rutten as our deputy vice captain. And we've added two of the young guns. We've added Dangerfield and Sloan to that group. Dogger has decided that he'd like to step aside and mentor our next group of emerging leaders. So Dowdy will mentor a group which we've called our emerging leaders group, which will be Vince, Tippett, Petrenko, Jacobs, McKay and Douglas. So 6 players that we've earmarked as our next group of leaders. They'll receive some further, I guess, education about what leadership is and be mentored by Dogger in that regard, and also do a fair bit of work with Paddy Dangerfield, our leadership and culture manager, in getting those guys ready for the next stage. Did I say Steinford? Sorry, it's meant to be Paddy Steinford. How do we select them? We selected them on a number of criteria. It was actually selected by coaches in the end, after consultation with Paddy Steinford, but also to our CEO, our footy manager, and about 10 or 12 players. Being so young, we decided that we would take the onus away from our first, second and third year players, and after speaking to mostly to these boys behind us, that decided that these were the 5 that we wanted, and we're pretty happy with what we've got. It's a perfect mix of experience and youth, and we think this is the group that's going to take us forward.
There's a lot of theories about leadership groups. Why did you want to work this one particularly first up?
I think it's the perfect mix just for where we are, where we're situated. VB's an outstanding leader, and I know he's going to take this club forward. His second year, I think he's going to really blossom into being one of the outstanding captains of the AFL, and he'll get some great support from also Scotty Thompson and Truck. And I think Dangerfield and Sloan are probably the two guys that are ready to step up as well.
Is there a thing with Patrick about doing this within this season, but also encouraging another hook to stay with?
It's a little insulting, I think, Rich. That question.
No, it's a realistic one. Clubs do it.
Nah, Paddy's ready to lead. He's the perfect fit for what we want. He's an outstanding young man. He's the first player that I caught up with when I got the job. We had coffee in Geelong, and a couple of days later we were taking Brad Crouch to the footy to watch Geelong play West Coast in a pre-league final. So he loves the club. He spoke to the group this morning about what it means to him, and he's very passionate about the club and where it's headed. So he'll be a great leader for us, not only this year, but I'm sure down the track.
So if you made him the first person before, you were asking the same question I was.
Was I what, sorry?
Asking the same question I was.
No.
The first person to seek him.
No, as soon as I got the job, which I was in Geelong, Danger was with his family in Milks Creek, so he was just down the road. So I think it was the next day we caught up for a coffee, so it's great.
Brenton, Michael Dowdy, his decision entirely to step down from the leadership group?
Yeah, he said that in the first week. So the first week that we came back to training, he caught up with Paddy first of all, Paddy Steinford, and then caught up with me a few weeks later, just having a think through it. And I think he just wants to focus on his footy, but at the same time, he said he was really adamant that his leadership won't change. He'll still be the great dog that the boys love, and he was really keen to take a role with that next group of emerging leaders coming through. So we think we're quite progressive and innovative with that group as well. You know, a group of 6 guys coming through that we hope are going to be future leaders as well. And you know, those guys have been outstanding through the summer in driving the culture of the group and being great role models for that young group that we've got.
You've obviously got Tomo and Ben, who are the very senior guys, as vice and deputy, but was there a real emphasis to get some younger guys into the group? Yeah, there is.
I do like the old school way though. You know, the boys have said even this morning, it's just it's really clear. You know, VB's our skipper, and Nathan and Ben, Scotty and Ben will give him a ton of support. But they're going to learn. Rory and Paddy will learn on the job too. You know, these guys have got tons of experience, so they'll be fantastic in helping them through.
What were the leadership qualities that really stood out about Rory?
I think I like about Sloan is he's a terrific role model for the younger boys. He's really hard on the younger group as well. He lives the club's values, which is something that we're really keen on. And he does show empathy for the group as well. You always see him in the locker room sitting next to those young boys, and they do seek him out too. You know, he's got a fantastic personality. Players are drawn to him, and I think he's ideal for the role.
Bren, what have you learned about Nathan Van Berlo that wants to make you keep him as captain?
Well, he just does everything right. He's the perfect skipper. You know, it was unanimous. Every person that we spoke to, whether it was the CEO, whether it was some of the senior players, the coaches, there was no one going to go past VB in that leadership role. He just does everything right. He's an animal in the gym. He wins all the runs. He trains his heart out, and he's really hard on his teammates as well. So I think he's ready to take that next step as well, Rich. I think he's going to be an outstanding young captain.
Where did this idea of the emerging leadership group come from? Is that something that Geelong did?
No, it's something that we're very keen to start, just to identify our next group of leaders. But also too, you know, saying that Dog is going to step aside, he's still a great leader. Like eventually we'll fill up this team full of great leaders, and there's some exciting young players coming through who are already showing leadership qualities. So we thought it would be best to continue to educate them and just identify what leadership is. And you know, I've got a person working in there full time, helping those guys to be fast tracked.
In Brenton, we've seen a fair bit of excitement, certainly in the public eye, from the physicality of trainings. Showed no signs of abating again today.
No, I was hoping the boys would get stuck into each other today while the cameras were here again, but no, they've been pretty ferocious on the track. The guys are really competitive. We're a couple of weeks away from our first Nat Cup game, so there's probably 34, 35 guys deserve to play in that first week, I reckon. So competition for spots is up. So the guys have been incredible the way they've thrown themselves into every session that we've had.
Just back to Nathan, was there any debate about the continuing, or was it just pretty much a rubber stamp type thing?
No, listen, I was here, I reckon, for 2 weeks, and I couldn't see anyone else being skipper, not because we haven't got the next people ready to step up, it's just because Nathan's so good. Going to give him a lot more empowerment this year to pull the trigger on a few more decisions, because he's in his second year, and I think he understands now what needs to be done. But he's an absolute star. He's a ripper. The boys are drawn to him, and I think he's going to be fantastic.
Are they on-field or off-field decisions?
No, there's on-field and off-field. Yeah, I mean the leadership group has to be an extension of your coaching group, and these 5 guys behind me obviously are an extension of the coaching group. So on-field coaches, but also too they understand the game plan. They know the game plan fundamentals. So those guys will be coaches on the ground, plus those other 6 guys that I mentioned before.